Hi, my name is Dr. Robert Young, and I'm with Maggie Garcia, and she is a registered nurse and also a licensed massage therapist. And she also has a background in naturopathy. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yes,
Okay, and today we're going to be talking about, I believe, is it multiple myeloma?
multiple myeloma. It's a,
And why don't you just describe some of the symptoms that you're experiencing right now?
well, at this moment, I have more pain than usual. I don't take any pharmaceuticals, just chemical, just chemo.
Yeah.
Um, I try to stay away from pharmaceuticals, and I was diagnosed last year, and with kidney failure and liver malfunction and a lot of lesions in my bones and my thorax. And it has been a very hard journey. I believe it was induced for a booster, an MMR vaccination booster that I received 4 years ago. I already have autoimmune because since I'm a nurse, I have to take the flu vaccination every year. And I stopped taking it 6 years ago because I started noticing my health declining. And but it was late, and I went to India and I did Ayurveda, and they helped me to level my autoimmune, and I was doing better. And when I came back, I was forced to get another MMR because my serum never converts for mumps, and since I was working with new babies, they felt like I needed to be vaccinated again, and it was very suddenly when I started getting very sick.
Hmm.
You know, I've never been a heavy person because I always take I was too good. I always took good care of myself.
Hmm.
But even though I was 120 pounds, I dropped to 88. Um, and reading your books, makes me aware of the acidic that I was building. And now I have always been a vegetarian, so it
Interesting.
has been kind of difficult, to understand why so much acidic.
Yeah. Well, there's so many contributing factors to that, besides what you eat and what you drink,
Hmm.
but also air pollution is a major contributing to environmental
Hmm.
toxicity within our bodies or acidity. Metabolism, of course, continually produces lactic acid that needs to be eliminated. And of course, respiration, you have carbonic acid or carbon dioxide and carbonic
Hmm.
acid. But the major contributing factor uh, uh, is diet, lifestyle. There's also stressor factors, mental, worry, anger, you know, um, overworking, of course, produces a tremendous amount of lactic acid. And these lactic acids or acids are measurable, not just in your vascular fluids, but also in your interstitial fluids.
Hmm.
So you're familiar with interstitial fluid cystitis, uh,
Hmm.
and that's a very common thing, but very few people are familiar with decompensated acidosis of the interstitial fluids of the interstitium, which is affecting the lungs, the heart, the brain, the liver, the kidneys, what have you. In fact, kidneys are very sensitive to metabolic and dietary acids, just as the liver and pancreas are affected by a common toxin or acid such as alcohol. Now, I don't believe that you drink alcohol, so it's that is not a contributing factor. But the other contributing factors, besides diet, and environmental toxins, are the ones that are introduced and that we're exposed in by the environment that we live in, and particularly electromagnetic frequencies
Yes.
running anywhere from from 400 megahertz up to 98 gigahertz. 5G, when it's fully functional, can operate between 30 to 98 gigahertz. And so that can be a major contributing factor. Generally speaking, 4G, which supports 5G, is operating at about 2.4 gigahertz, which is the same way, which is a microwave, which is the same way that our microwaves in our homes cook our food at a pulsating frequency at 2.4 gigahertz. So that's what we're being exposed to with Wi-Fi. That can increase significantly. It's probably oscillating between 2.4 to 8, but eventually it's going to be at higher levels. And this is to run what is called the Internet of Things. So it becomes a major contributing factor to muscle fatigue, to muscle loss, to bone loss, to overall health. As EMF, or electromagnetic frequencies, have been generally stated as harmless. Of course, scientifically, the proof is that it is not harmless, that is detrimental to our overall health. And the exposure to that is a contributing factor to anyone that's exposed to Wi-Fi or near these antennas, even smart meters, that can affect our overall health and well-being. So it's very important to eliminate or minimize the amount of exposure to EMF as one of the most significant man-made contributing factors next to vaccinations, which has both micro and nanotechnology or nanoparticulates that are harmful to our body as well. So there are ingredients in there that are quite suspect as it relates to not only why they're in there, but how they can contribute to some of the health challenges that people are having, immune suppression, to even DIC or pulmonary embolism or disseminated intravascular coagulation, which affects our breathing, that leads to severe acute respiratory disorders. So this is a contributing factor. So all these contributing factors that we're being exposed to, even glyphosate in our foods, that are poisoning our internal environments. And that's why it's very important for you to consider a completely plant-based, organic, green foods diet, because the chlorophyll, which is identical to hemoglobin, acts as a biological buffer for dietary, metabolic, respiratory, environmental, even radioactive poisoning, which we're all being exposed to at levels that are hard to maintain our health. So are you exposed to Wi-Fi? Are you exposed to?
Yes, of
Do you
course.
do you turn it off at night?
I wish I just turned it off, the one in my room at least.
Mhm.
It is very hard because I have two grown-up children here, and they refuse to understand this. And sometimes they take classes online, and they will do their work at night.
Mhm.
So it is a battle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're attached to all of our, you know, electrical magnetic fields of energy that are controlling everything from, our appliances to our electrical meters to our communication systems. of course, what we're using right now. So one of the
Mhm.
things you can do to protect yourself is to reinforce or protect your own biofield through what is called sympathetic resonant technology. Sympathetic
I'm not.
sympathetic resonant technology provides um, a way to reinforce your own biofield in order to protect it from any chaotic man-made fields. One of the apparatuses is called Q-link, Q standing for quantum link. The link is between the apparatus and your own personal vibrational frequencies. And you can
Mhm.
check that out online just by Googling Q-link, and you can read about some of the research. Dr. Beverly Rubik and I, we published a paper in 2001. We did the research over in London in 1999. And there we discovered that even at 400 uh, megahertz, which is the frequency that 1 and 2G operate, is harmful to the body. Being exposed to these electrical and magnetic fields do disrupt the normal functionality of all your organs and organ systems. And
Mhm.
these higher pulsating frequencies can be even more detrimental. And there are those who are quite concerned about some of these higher frequencies up in the 30 gigahertz and 98 gigahertz, which is what 5 and 6G operate off of. Uh, there's lots of reasons for this. I don't need to go into details, but I just want you to be aware of it. If you want to read my research on this, you can go to drrobertyoung.com/blog. Just put in EMF and the human biofield. You'll be able to read my paper in conjunction with Dr. Beverly Rubik on the effects of the human biofield, the negative effects, I should say. So
Yes.
that's one thing I wanted to bring to your attention. That in
Mhm.
itself could be the primary contributing factor next to the nanoparticulates, the toxic nanoparticulates in vaccines, not just the pure acid, in the form of aluminum
Oh,
oxide,
I
but
see.
yeah. So this could have been what probably took you over the top that has created the inflammation, the ulcerations, and the degeneration, and
Mhm.
the inability to build a healthy blood, which in turn builds healthy body cells,
Mhm.
including muscle and bone. So you have to really strengthen your core health, and that really goes then to eliminating all acidic contributing factors or minimizing those acidic contributing
Mhm.
factors as much as possible. Even emotional or mental stress can be a contributing factor to all this. So it's not one specific thing, but some of the things I've talked about are more toxic than other things. So it's bringing your body back into balance uh, through an alkaline lifestyle and diet to protect not only the internal fluids, but also, since we are electrical beings, we run on electrons,
Mhm.
we have to protect our conductivity and the normal flow of life force energy that keeps us going. And that probably the biggest uh, challenge we have is to understand what are electron donors and what are electron scavengers,
Mhm.
foods or environments that will steal life force from us in the form of what I refer to as the spark of life, which is the electron. and its conductivity. One of the things that will help you is to incorporate more alkaline salts into your diet.
Okay.
So I noticed that in your notes to me that you were giving yourself IVs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I am doing 4 at the time, 4 in a week at the moment.
And what type of IVs are you?
Normal saline.
So you're just doing 0.9%.
0.9 with bicarb.
Oh, so how
And
much bicarb are you doing?
I don't know. I have to see the bag to read it. I can mail it to you.
Okay.
Uh,
So
it comes from the pharmacy. They
yeah,
deliver.
it's the bicarb generally is an 8.4% solution of sodium
Yes.
bicarbonate. Yeah, and they come in like 50 ml, 25 or 50s.
It's a liter.
Oh, you have a liter bag. Okay,
Yes.
so it is already prepared with, I know the 1% is prepared, but you say you were using bicarb too. Are you?
It's a 0.9 normal saline, but I didn't pay attention to the amount of bicarb. I just read that it has bicarb, and I was happy about it.
Yeah, well,
And
you can check that out. And of course, being a nurse, you know, the bicarb is is used in chronic conditions to restore someone's alkaline environment if they're in decompensated acidosis. Determining that is a little more difficult for hospitals or critical care areas because they don't have the equipment to test the pH of the interstitial fluids to determine if someone's in decompensated acidosis. But you have all the symptomologies of chronic decompensated acidosis of the interstitial fluid. Now
and
that may not be showing up in the vascular fluids.
they don't check for that. It would be a serial type of blood test for the pH. And my troubles started when they have to start a second chemo because the marks for the cancer start going back up. It was decreasing and it was going down, down, down with Velcade, and suddenly halted and started coming up again. So they started me with a second chemo 3 weeks ago,
I see. Okay,
and
well, you
that's
know,
when the
as I've mentioned in my book, The pH Miracle for Cancer, which I
Mhm.
would highly recommend that you
I have
show the front page. That's the back page. You've got, yeah, just turn the
Mhm.
book. Can you turn it to the front? Anyway,
Yes.
there it is. Okay, you got it. Yeah, you'll notice that I have recommended in that book between 12 to 1500 milligrams or 1.5 grams of glutathione, and
Yes.
I've also recommended that much, and that's a really a minimal dose. Unless when I suggested that, that was more by uh, either uh, intravenous drip or by colon hydrotherapy. But you can purchase the glutathione in 500 milligram capsules. Uh, but by oral, I would suggest 15 milligrams 3 to 4 times a day if you're going
50
oral.
grams?
Yeah, three 500 milligram capsules of glutathione 3 times a day, and then 1,500 milligrams of the N-acetylcysteine, uh, which is a precursor to glutathione,
Mhm.
uh, to reduce ethanol alcohol or acetaldehyde or uh, even even lactic acid levels. You could take that orally. Um, you could check with your doctor and see if they would be willing to use that in an IV drip. It's not necessary. That's why
Uh,
that's why you can use this the nebulization of liquid double distilled water, so a deionized or double distilled water with the glutathione and the N-acetylcysteine at 5 mLs each, so a total of 10 mLs that you could nebulize. That can be taken into the interstitial fluids of the lung and help your respiration, but then it gets into the blood and then into the interstitial fluid. So that can be very helpful to you to nebulize. There's it's very difficult to find in any store or pharmacy a water-based glutathione or N-acetylcysteine that you can nebulize. So you have,
Do you have it in your store?
yeah, so that's where you get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You have to request the NAC in writing. So you have to actually write an email
Okay.
to request that. So I don't know if you have that email or not, but
I do.
yeah.
I've been in contact with everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah.
So
Those are two powerful antioxidants. The other one I would suggest is to improve your circulation and also to minimize the acids. From my theory, my work stating that cancer, bone or cancer, is a disease of the fluids of the body, not a disease of the particular tissue or gland or organ. So cells are responsive to their environment, just as genetics. Genetics does not determine your destiny. Genetics is an expression of its environment. So you turn on and off genes based upon that environment. So when I say we, I mean you, as you change that internal environment and hyperperfuse alkalinity into, not the vascular, that's one way to get it, but into the interstitial fluids, then this will help. The quickest, fastest way is using suppositories. So you can use suppositories, and it's not non-invasive, or using hydrocolon therapy to hyperperfuse purified water with antioxidants and chelators of metabolic, dietary, and respiratory acids, even environmental, into the rectum that is then taken up by the hemorrhoidal vein. And of course, that not only detoxes your liver, but your heart, your kidney, I mean, everything. It's because it goes right in from the blood into the portal vein to the inferior vena cava to the heart. So there's no, with the vascular infusions, it has to travel, but this goes directly into a major vein, the hemorrhoidal vein. What's that?
What type of suppositories?
Well, so there's two things we're talking about here. We're talking about suppositories, of which you can prepare yourself by taking coconut oil in a liquid state, putting that into a stainless steel bowl, and then mixing the glutathione, the liquid glutathione, mixing the liquid N-acetylcysteine, mixing the chlorophyll, mixing the 4 salts, the sodium potassium bicarbonate, mixing the sodium chloride, which is a 30% solution, not a 1%, but a 30% solution. So like the IV, injecting 30% solution of sodium chloride would be very, very shocking to the blood. But when you mix a 30% solution into a, into the coconut oil, you put that in there, you're not only getting concentrations of all these very powerful conductors of electricity from the sodium, and you're putting in anti coagulants and antioxidants into that. You mix it up and you pour it into an ice tray, and then you freeze it. Okay, and then you take each one of these cubes, and this is how you can then infuse that into through the anus to the rectum, and of course at body temperature, the coconut, upon contact of your body temperature, begins to melt, so it just slides in, and it melts within the rectum. And as you hold that, it's then absorbed by the hemorrhoidal vein, into the vascular system. So this is a non-invasive way for you to help yourself without having to use an invasive way of infusing directly into the vascular system. Yeah.
Did you say 30% sodium chloride or sodium bicarb?
The sodium bicarbonate is a formulation called four salts that contains potassium and sodium bicarbonate. You take 2 or 3 scoops of that and mix it into the coconut with one.
pH,
what's that?
Is the pH our salt?
It's called four salts, PHOUR, four salts, yeah. It contains sodium and potassium bicarbonate and magnesium chloride and calcium carbonate. The major ingredients are sodium, potassium bicarbonate. So this is a very easy way for you to infuse. The other way is to make an appointment with a colon hydrotherapist who has a closed machine to be able to not only infuse water, but also infuse alkalinity in the form of 2 or 3 scoops of sodium bicarbonate with the saline solution, the 30% saline solution, and adding the glutathione or the N-acetylcysteine, even the L-arginine, which will help you with your circulation and elimination, and also contains, some vasodilators such as niacinamide or B3, with some very powerful antioxidants from pine bark and grapeseed, which are the pycnogenols that can be very helpful. In addition to megadosing vitamin D3. Are you taking D3?
Yeah, I have yours.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been buying.
Yeah,
I've
good.
been buying products.
Yeah, 10,000 I use. Yeah, so yeah, you can take several of those to help you. Do you have the 4 salts?
I do.
Yeah.
I take them.
Great. Yeah. Are you testing your urine pH?
I am, and it's very hard to keep it at 8. And when I get chemo, it drops all down to 6.75.
Which
So,
is, yeah, 6.75 is to 5.5 to 6.5 is the cancer pH. So what happens is that type of therapy pollutes the internal environment. And I understand the theory is that cancer is a cellular disease and the cells are mutating. This is not my this is not my findings. This is not my research.
no.
My findings shows that you do not have cancer cells. You have cancerous cells, or cells that are breaking down or altering or expressing genetically improperly or mutating genetically improperly because of a compromised environment. So in order for healing to take place, that healing takes place at a pH of 8.4, not at 6.7. Cancer
Oh, I
cannot,
know.
cancer cannot be cured at a pH of 5.5 to 6.7. It's impossible. It's what I refer to in the movie. It's called the never ending story. It doesn't end.
Horrible. I
Yeah.
didn't have pain,
Yeah.
and neuropathy was an issue. I was better. It's just
Well,
the question that I have for you.
yeah, just one point about the neuropathy, since you mentioned it, is I would take one scoop,
Mm-hmm.
a 10-gram scoop of the L-arginine max, put it in a small glass of distilled or alkaline water, which would be anywhere from 2 to 4 ounces, and you drink that 4 times a day. Okay, so
Okay.
that's very important that you put that in there, because you have more powerful compounds in the pycnogenol and the resveratrol than you currently have with any other treatment you're having. As an electron donor, as a chelator of acidic waste that's causing cellular breakdown or the malfunction
Mm-hmm.
of the body cells in their production of blood. Do you know what your hemoglobin is or your red blood cell counts are?
Finally, fine. The 12, between 11 and 12 is fine. It used to be 3.
So you were receiving transfusions?
The last transfusion was in June.
And what do you attribute that change to? Are you attributing that to your diet and the increased amount of chlorophyll you're eating, or increase of oils? What do you
Well,
attribute?
I was following diet from Mexico because I went to Hope for Cancer, and I see that there is a lot of fault in there. And from learning from you, I've improved since November, because that's when I found you and I found your books and I started reading them. And I have to say, probably the chemo, I really don't know why.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Well,
number, the numbers and the markers of the chemo, of the cancer start coming down with the chemo, with Revlimid and Velcade.
yeah.
And but I knew it was not going to be a fix.
Okay. So, I'm sure within your heart and your mind, you would like to find a way to reverse this. And, reversing a cancerous condition uh, can only take place if we can get your pH of your interstitial fluids up to 8.4. Now,
Okay.
how do you know if you're doing that? Well, the urine is a product of interstitial fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're forcing the pH up at 8.4 to 9, then in the morning, which is the acid tide, this is very successful. Generally speaking, it should be at that level in the afternoon during the alkaline tide, because
Mm-hmm.
there's flows of fluid and chemistry changes during the day. And the most alkaline time of the day is at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And the most acidic time of the day is at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yes, I heard that.
Okay, so people have to get up at night to eliminate, their bladder, the poisons that are being dumped into the interstitial fluids and then out through the kidneys. And then, so interstitial kidney disease, interstitial cystitis is very common because, those are at the brunt of an acidic lifestyle and diet. So that's why we need to raise that up to support the kidneys and to support the stomach, because it's the stomach that provides immunity for the body. Now that may sound strange to you, or something you've never heard. But the stomach's number one objective is to manufacture sodium bicarbonate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's what it does. And it does that every time the body needs alkalinity. It's the stomach that produces the sodium bicarbonate. The purposes of increasing dietary sodium bicarbonate from foods that are high in sodium bicarbonate, okay, or potassium bicarbonate, like avocados, okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is important. Even taking supplemental bicarbonates, because that takes stress off the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the stomach produces sodium bicarbonate from salt, water, and carbon dioxide. 90% of your your carbon dioxide is utilized by the stomach in the production of sodium bicarbonate. 10% is exhaled. So it doesn't really help per se the body if the demand for sodium bicarbonate increases by the utilization of acidic treatments or acidic lifestyles and diet. So in order to reverse cancer, you have to eliminate all the acidic contributing factors and focus on what's going to give you the outcome that you're seeking, and that is to hyperperfuse alkalinity into the fluids that surround every cell of the human body. Okay, not kill the cell,
Mm-hmm.
but provide an environment that's conducive for thriving, not surviving.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you reverse multiple myeloma. There's no other way.
Okay.
I mean, that is my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but this is what I've seen, and this is not something I can do for you. You have to do it for yourself. Yeah. So you have some things to think about. So I just wanted to say that. Now let's go to your questions.
Oh, thank you. I read in the black curcumin. Do you sell that in your store? Which one will be the best one for me to take?
Are you you're talking about
Black seed oil.
say it again, I'm sorry.
Black seed oil.
Yeah, the black seed oil with the thymoquinine, yeah, is probably one of the most powerful anti-carcinogenics. When I say that, I'm also going to use it synonymously with anti-acid. Anything that's anti-acid is anti-carcinogenic. So the black seed oil is something you can take 2 to 3 times a day, you know, a tablespoon, at least once a day, if not 2 to 3 times a day. Very powerful anti-carcinogenic.
Do you recommend any brand?
Brand?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a brand of, oh, you're talking about brand, like label?
Yes, it's just I'm afraid to buy anything.
Yeah. Well, you can find that on the website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. We have an organic source. When I say we, I mean they have an organic source of the black seed oil, and you can use that also in conjunction with hemp seed oil is very, very good.
Okay.
Broccoli
Yeah.
seed oil is very, very good,
Oh.
but it's very, very hard to find.
Yes, I have never seen.
Yeah. So broccoli seed oil is very good. Flaxseed oil, hemp seed oil, black seed. The broccoli seed oil, the black seed oil are some of the best oils for, containing compounds that will help to chelate out the acids that cause cancer. The number one acid being lactic acid. So since you're a vegetarian, you don't eat beef, chicken, pork, or fish.
Mm.
But I do recommend cutting out. A lot of people don't cut out eggs, but eggs have to be cut out with dairy products. Yeah.
Yeah. In Mexico, they gave me fish, salmon or mahi, and I started incorporating that in my diet. But I'm not a meat eater, so it's been very
Yeah.
hard.
Well, I recommend the seed oils, hemp seed oil and black seed oil, and the broccoli seed oil.
Okay.
Even, when you're talking about carrots, I mean, carrot seed oil is very good. But it's high in vitamin A, and this is these kinds of oils are very unique, but they are available, or you know I can help you to try to find some of these. But I would initially start out with the black seed oil and the hemp seed oil.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I already have kudos, and I've been doing it. The other question.
Udo's has a very good oil, so his oils are very, very good. A lot of people don't realize that oils, particularly the unsaturated, what that means. If an oil is unsaturated, it means that it's not saturated with acidity
Mm-hmm.
or hydrogen ions. So when they're talking about a saturated oil, they're talking about within its carbon chain, there's no unsaturations or breaks within that carbon chain that is bound up by hydrogen. So where
Mm-hmm.
there's a break, like omega-3, there's a break, there's a missing hydrogen. That's an unsaturation. The more unsaturations that you have, the better, because hydrogen or acid, H positive proton, a proton donor, not an electron donor, takes life force energy from you. So when you take oils that are unsaturated, you're taking oils that can then receive as a proton acceptor, can literally take up waste products. And that's why the fish oils, why they were giving you the fish oils in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
actually they're giving you fish because of the fish oils, which provide a super unsaturated oil, which is part of, I believe, Udo's oil is one of the ingredients. But yeah, there's saturated oils which are saturated with acid or hydrogen ions, and then there's unsaturated oils, poly meaning many
Mm-hmm.
saturations, and then there's super unsaturated. So the super ones would be like hemp oil
Mm-hmm.
and black seed oil and fish oil. Yeah, so those are some of the
Mm-hmm.
super broccoli seed oil. These are some of the super uh, yeah, polyunsaturated oils. So
Is
yes,
it
you can take as much of that as you
is
want.
it
Go ahead. Okay, are you there?